The excessive technology use gives you a lot of problems like sedentary lifestyle. The more time spent on a screen is associated with less time for physical fitness, and remaining in a fixed posture could cause musculoskeletal symptoms. Vision. For example, discomfort, eye strain, blurred vision, headache. Injuries. Devices are often used while carrying out other tasks, like walking or driving, and may cause the user to be more susceptible to accidents. Infections. Devices may have more germs than a toilet seat. Can you imagine that? Ew! Social development. More time spent on online engagement over face-to-face interactions may hinder social skill development or cause social withdrawal. Sleep deprivation. Devices may cut into one's sleep cycle. Further, depending on the use, an individual may be wired, alert, and unable to rest. Psychological concerns. Excessive use of technology has been associated with several mental health concerns such as poor psychological well-being, poor anxiety, depression, lower emotional stability, and lower life satisfaction. So you decide if you want to have something like this. It's your option.
The addiction to technology is detected when there is an excessive and uncontrolled use of the cell phone, video games, internet, or social networks, which negatively impacts other areas of the person's life. Also, when you cannot use them, you feel anxious, tense, and indecisive. For you to detect if you are addicted to technology, here are the most common symptoms. The addict of technology puts as a priority activity the use of the object, and secondly, the everyday, such as family relationships, studies, works, or friends. Is isolated from family members and has behaviors that generate problems with friends, studies, or work. Video game addicts tend to eliminate social relationships completely, since this is an individual activity to which they dedicate a lot of the time of the day. The person spends a lot of time on the internet, talking on the cell phone, or waiting to send message. Even being with his parents, the addict is still using the cell phone, or go everywhere with this one, to the food, to the bedroom, during the classes, etc. The affected person lies to his family, missing work or school. That is, he becomes a slave to technology, without freedom of decision or control over his person. Experts mention that the consequence in a drug addict can be psychological, social, professional, and economic. These people have low self-esteem, limited social skills, high anxiety, and a tendency to depression.
The new technologies are excellent because people's lives are better. The problem arises from the harmful use that can be made of the internet, a negative employment, and that is in the progress of forming an adult personality, and because for today's adolescents, the virtual terrain has as much reality as the face-to-face relationships. The World Health Organization knows that 1 in 4 people suffer from behavioral disorders related to the new technologies. In Spain, calculate that between 6 and 9% of regular internet users could have developed some addictive behavior. The new technologies represent for the adolescents a chance to get lost in a fantasy world to escape from the daily routine. In this way, there is a paradox. through social network and the internet. Adolescents do not show themselves really are but show an artificial image to themselves. The physical and physiological changes that are experienced in adolescence make the young person more emotional vulnerable. For this reason, the adolescent can search at certain times for the security that he lacks with himself in technologies.
Video game addiction. Addiction to video games is already considered a mental disorder. Video game addiction is considered addiction that needs comprehensive care. Since it was declared addiction to video games as a mental disorder in the International Day of the Fight Against Addiction. It is important to separate addiction from compulsive behavior. The latter has saved people in recent years of mobile technology. That is to say, smartphones that have become an indispensable tool for many people in order for a behavior to become an addict. It necessarily intervenes with the factor of the pleasure that is side the substances or object drug provoke this feeling in your dopaminergic system, which causes a sense of reward when using it and is considered a mental disorder. The addiction to video games is what when the dependency on video games gets some intense. That is dedicated at least 4 hours a day to this activity, assuming this tenant grasp of all kinds of obligation and responsibilities beyond the psychological intervention conducted by professionals. That is the recommended option when the addiction to video games is very intense. Beyond the psychological intervention conducted by professionals, that is the third recommended option when the addiction to video games is very intense. It is preferable to stop playing for a limited time to try with the possibility to continue playing because it produces such hostility that the situation is seen as direct to confrontation in which anything goes as long as
The
the
new
rule
technologies
is
represent for the
skipped.
adolescent a chance to get lost in a fantasy world, to escape from the daily routine. In this way, there is a paradox. Through social networks and the internet, adolescents do not show themselves as really are, but show an artificial image of themselves, which shows low self-esteem. This psycho and psychological change that are experienced in adolescence make the young person more emotionally vulnerable. For this reason, the adolescent can search at certain times for the security that he lacks with himself in technologies. Instant access to information has revolutionized how students learn today. From an instructional perspective, education technology sound great, but with its growing prevalence in America's public schools, its true impact is gradually being revealed, and the news is not all good. A Pew Research Center survey found out that nearly 90% of teachers believed that digital technologies were creating an easily distracted generation with short attention spans. About 16% said it hindered students' ability to write and communicate face to face, and almost half said it hurt critical thinking and their ability to homework. Also, 76% of teachers believe students are being conditioned by the internet to find quick answers, leading to a loss of concentration. Between class periods, the halls of American high schools resemble a traffic jam on the interstate as they glare hypnotically into a screen. Some scroll their fingers up, down, and across a tablet. Others text faster than professional tipsters, while still others bob their heads to music.